Actually, you know what? Take my answer back. Sharon Moore, Stardy, keep him in. Bring back Rich Rodriguez. Bring back Brady Hope. Bring them all back. Actually, Lloyd Carr, you stay to the side. You beat us for some years. You stay to the side. Original Jim Harbaugh, you can come back. Khakis later, you can go. So Sharon Moore, actually, you know what? He can start. As an Ohio State fan, start goddamn Sharon Moore. That's how we're going to go about this. Squad up. Cinco
Squad
in
up.
the house. Back at it again. Here we go. Let's get to business. Today I got my guys with me. Grandpa J, Mike A, and Trey Day. Something's missing here, though. I don't have my guy John. Where is John? I know y'all probably asking, but you know what? I'm going to give you a little bit of secret. See, the secret is I heard Juan Soto's thinking he was leaving the Yankees. Word on the street is John has went out with Brian Cashman. They're on assignment to try to raise some funds to make sure Juan Soto does not leave the Bronx. But y'all didn't hear it first. That was an exclusive, though. Anyways, fellas, how are y'all doing?
Well, you know, it's an interesting time of year to be a fan for me. My football team is my professional football team is pretty much in the absolute shitter. College team's doing well, though. I mean, we're doing all right. We're in the playoffs so far, so that's fun. How you guys?
Next up for the Bucks, the Giants of New York. I'm very happy about this. So the win streak begins for the Bucks after they begin with the Giants.
Yep.
We'll see if they can pull together at least a little 3-gamer. The schedule is favorable for it. But you know me, guys. I'm excited because it's college basketball time. And Duke went down last night or night before, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm a happy fan.
Yes. Always happy.
Never tried to enjoy a Duke loss. Shout out to our guy Cooper Flag. I expected a better debut and not to come out like this within the first couple weeks. But hey, here we are. I'm sure they'll figure it out there or not. Still fuck Duke. That still stands there. But anyway, speaking of teams and dominance, the Kansas City Chiefs have still managed not to lose. Some folks thought they would keep winning. Some folks thought they would lose at some point. The Kansas City Chiefs. Mike, let me know. Can they run the table? And if they can't run the table, where do you see that loss coming at?
Yes, they absolutely can run the table. Their schedule is pretty favorable as far as being able to get through with a win. Honestly, the only real hurdle I see that could stop them from going undefeated, at least in the regular season, is this upcoming weekend against the Bills. I think that's going to be their toughest test. If they can get through that, I think they're going to go 16-0. And then, again, until they prove me wrong, I will never bet against Patrick, Michael, Jeffrey, Jordan Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So if they go undefeated in the regular season, we may see the first one since 72. I don't know.
Well, mi compadre, remember they have to go 17-0 before they go to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's the problem. Because now they face the dilemma of, do we default the perfect season for the first team to ever win 3 Super Bowls? Because that holds a lot more precedence. Because, you're perfect, but what if the same thing happens to you? One of your key players goes down. Now it's a question as if the Kansas City Chiefs were going into the playoffs healthy. They gambled for the perfect season, and they chose to gamble for that over resting players to make sure that they were ready for a playoff run, a Super Bowl run specifically, to be maybe the first and only team to ever win 3 straight. As far as I'm concerned, those freaking 17 Dolphins can keep popping champagne until they're so old, they go pop the champagne, and the mere fact that popping the champagne alone gives them a heart attack, all right? So whichever the last of Mohicans is, good for y'all. I'm not wishing that upon y'all. Good health and good health to all of you, okay? But the Miami Dolphins can have that. We said what we want to see already. I told you guys, I want to see the Chiefs three-peat. This is a Bucs fan saying this because I love seeing history. But I don't think it's going to happen in terms of the perfect season because they're going to default to the Super Bowl and they'll probably rest most of their starters in week 17 and 18 if they've already wrapped up the 1 seed in the AFC.
I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. You know, this is my guy, Patrick Michael Jordan Mahomes. That's always been my guy. They'll lose 1 game this year. If you look at the schedule, they're going to start off 15-0. Now, the NFL set them up for failure. Because what they did was they put them on Christmas Day. They're going against my Steelers. This is always going to be my 18. Now, some people will say, yeah, you're biased. You're going for the Steelers because these are your guys. But look at the schedule. they're basically going to go play the Browns on a Sunday. Then they're going to follow up with a short week. They're going to play on 6 days, come back on a Saturday and play, and then follow that right back up, and then have to come back and then go to Pittsburgh on a Wednesday. So they're going to be all over the road basically within a 14-day period, basically playing all these games back to back to back. And I think by then they'll have less to play for because they'll probably be so far out. The Steelers will be playing for a lot more because the Steelers and Ravens are clearly going to run this to the end. And I can see where maybe a guy has a little bit of a nick injury and they say, you know what, it's not worth risking this hamstring for this guy or something like that. The Steelers are going to be putting it all out there. Also, let's be real. Christmas time, people want to be at home with their families. Going on the road on Christmas time, there has to be something to that. Spending that much time away from your family, and your whole goal is to go out here and win the Super Bowl. So when it's all said and done, I think the Steelers are actually going to catch the Chiefs here. I'm not saying that they're going to go win the Super Bowl, but I feel like that's where the hiccup comes. This week in Buffalo, though, a lot of people are going to say that's going to be the loss. No, Buffalo, as we have said many of times, they are going to do something. We will talk about this later, but something's going to happen, and they will figure out a way to lose that game because when Patrick Mahomes jumps on that field versus Buffalo, this might as well be Michael Jordan fucking going against Karl Malone. Something is going to happen when they get on that field. I'm just saying like that.
I'll tell you what, though, as much as the Chiefs look like that team of destiny that finds a way to win, they don't win their way. They find a way to win, which is what you see in Super Bowl or true contenders. That's what you see. Mm-hmm. As much as they're showing signs of that, Buffalo is showing signs of the team that starts off either not convincing or they show signs that maybe this is a glitch here. Maybe we're seeing signs that this team isn't what they are. And they just freaking explode in the second half. They're a team that could turn it on at will. And I haven't seen that from this Buffalo team before. When you see them start a game bad, the whole game's bad. When they're hot, they're hot. You haven't seen them be able to like deal with adversity and overcome adversity in the middle of a game. So that proves to me that they're a more balanced squad this year. And Josh Allen is a more mature quarterback this year as well. We see in the decisions he's making. We haven't questioned, maybe once or twice we've questioned, I don't know if you should have done that, right? He's a lot smarter. He's keeping himself healthy. That's what the Bills need to win a Super Bowl. I think he finally gets it. And I do think he needs this win a lot more than Mahomes does. So this more as I'm circling this means so much more to my career. Mahomes is like, bro, I beat you in your freaking home last year. Who cares about the regular season? We did it in the playoffs. So have this win for all I care. We're winning the Super Bowl.
No, that makes sense. I mean, so are you locking that in?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to lock that in. Okay. So speaking of that, first off, y'all heard it here. Jay said lock that in. And I'm sure you got more you need us to lock in. So, hey, put it out there for us. What else are we locking in? We need to get paid this week. Christmas time is coming. We got to feed the families.
Oh, Kirby Smart. I don't know what happened with your quarterback, but whatever I don't know if you guys saw this meme that came out about Kirby saying, hey, guy, we need you right here. And it's a hammerhead shark, and the eyes are looking in opposing direction and saying, Carson, I got you, coach, all right? I don't know what's going on with Carson Beck right now, but that is not Georgia football. That's not the brand they've been putting on the field for the last 4 years. But kudos to Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin for being ready to stick it to them dogs. Unfortunately, we were 1-1 last week. I was sure that I had that lock on Georgia. So here's what we're doing this week. BYU. Yes, BYU. How about them bring young university boys in the playoffs right now? They're holding a 4 seed up, getting a bye, waiting for some team to win and come to their house to play. And I love Coach Kalani. I love what he's doing out there. Here's what I see happening. I have no reason why they are only favored to win at home by 2.5, where Kansas hasn't won a single road game this year. And I've watched Kansas play a couple times, and there's nothing about Kansas that reflects what has been happening in that program. Kansas will not compete with BYU. I am clueless as to why. I've looked at who's injured. What is it about this weekend? Why do they think maybe this is a slip-up game? Is BYU kind of overlooking Kansas because of who's coming next? I don't see that happening. Coach is going to have these boys ready to go. Take BYU to cover that 2.5. Then let's take it to the NFL. The Falcons are about to march into Denver. And just because Denver had a little slip-up against Baltimore, people think, oh, that defense isn't for real. Don't fool yourself. This defense is for real. So I am going to go and say, let's lock in the under at 44.5 because the Falcons have looked abysmal on the road. And Denver is playing much better than they did against the Ravens. They proved that they can hold the best team in football to less than 18 points. They're averaging 17.7 as a defense. This game ain't going anywhere close to 40. So let's lock it in this week, boys and girls. You got to take BYU to cover that 2.5 at home, and go ahead and take Denver to make sure those Falcons ain't scoring shit in Denver this weekend. Take the under at 44.5. And that's how you go ahead and lock it in and win yourself some moolah this weekend, baby.
Lock it in, folks, for sure. Like I said, Christmas time's coming. Y'all got turkeys to go out here for the family for Thanksgiving. And y'all see what the grocery store looks like. It gets real expensive. Y'all lock that in, I guarantee you're going to pay for your Thanksgiving dinner right there. And if so, you make a little bit extra, send us some turkey. We like to eat. I mean, Jay, maybe not Jay with the turkey, but, send Jay some potato
turkey
salad.
right here, guys. I'll take the tofurkey.
He'll take the tofu turkey. Yes, so take that. That's a little expensive. So lock it in. Put 10 on it. Put 20 on it. We'll lock it in. Prayers out to the Jets fans. If you know a Jets fan, send your prayers out. Rodgers wants to come back to play in 2025, and yeah, buddy, you're stuck. If you try to cut him, his dead cap is $49 million. So you're stuck with that guy. He wanted Devontae Adams. Looks like he may have lost a step. He wanted old-ass Randall Cobb last year. That dude had been lost a step. I commend Aaron Rodgers for his loyalty, though. Hopefully my friends are that loyal. They still want me to play with them, even if I am holding them back from being better at my job. He wanted that Hackett. That dude always sucked. But hey, here he goes. That's his guy again. Aaron's loyal. I will commend him on that. People wanted to, go out there in fantasy football. Draft Garrett Wilson super high. Draft Breece Hall super high. Right now, those guys, they're fantasy football killers. RP to your fantasy football season. But hey, the Jets, that's what you wanted. That's what you asked for. You get it, you shall receive it. Meanwhile, Matt LaFleur, he's out there. He's done his thing. He looks like a better coach. Some of us didn't know if he was competent. That dude is a real coach. Jordan Love, say what you want to say, but he's at least a solid franchise quarterback. And then you want to go out here and you get this old-ass quarterback, and he was past his prime, and he moves on. Suddenly the team starts to look good. Hey, seems like I heard this story before. Maybe it was. Maybe it was a Packers guy, and there was an old guy, and he was in the way, and he finally gets out the way, and the next guy shows up, and they look better. I think I've seen that story before. Maybe it's time to, watch the Packers level up. Oh, yeah, this story is very familiar. Hey, Vikings, I know J.J. McCarthy's hurt. I know he just had a second knee surgery. Prayers to J.J. McCarthy. Hopefully a speedy recovery for him. But if he does not recover, hey, I'm pretty sure the Jets will be willing to let you go out and let Aaron Rodgers go on his last leg. We've seen that story before. Hey, Vikings, you already know what time it is. Wrangler jeans, they did wonderful the last time. Wouldn't hurt to watch you repeat it again. But anyway, speaking of, is Denver for real? Is the Falcons for real? He just said that, right? So we're going to play a quick little game. We've been far enough in the NFL. We know some of these teams are pretenders. Some of these teams are contenders. Some of these people are about it. Some of these people aren't. So I'm actually going to kick this off just because of where Jay just left us off. We're going to go around. We'll pick a team, and then everybody's going to say if this team's a pretender or a contender. My squad, I'm going to say, and Mike, you kick us off, the Atlanta Falcons, contender or pretender?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good question. I am going to say, we always talk about sticking with our gut. I'm going to stick with my gut, pretender. I don't think they're as good as they've appeared to be. I know he's had a lot of moments where he's won some good games, but I'm not as in on Kirk O'Chains as some other people. They're an improved team. I'll say that. I'll give them credit for the fact that they are an improved team. But I think when you look at the landscape of the rest of the league, I don't put them in my group of contenders for teams that actually can go and win, big games consistently and win a championship. So I will say that as of now, the Atlanta Falcons are pretenders.
Hey, you not believing in Kirk O'Chains? That is a damn shame. Jay, you just talked about him your locks of the week.
Yeah, listen.
What are the Falcons?
This is the kind of team that, if you're a Falcons fan, it's the kind of team that definitely has you feeling like you're on top of the world one week, and then the next week you're like, what in the hell did I just see? Let's just point this out real quick, okay? We first of all, a little credit to Coach Raheem Morris for putting together what we thought he should have been putting together. Is the team that is competing to win that division this year. All right, they were everybody's favorite. Everybody knew the Bucs were going to have a bit of a down year, and Carolina New Orleans were having a dump year, right? So this is almost like you have to really mess this up not to win the division. And they pretty much have the driver's seat there. But this is a schizophrenic team. And I don't trust schizophrenic teams come playoff time because they don't play a consistent brand of football. So I can't trust the fact that you're going to give me the Atlanta Falcons that I saw just annihilate the Bucs twice this year already, because I'm not sure what that park's going to look like week to week. So this team is an absolute pretender. But I will say one thing about them though, and this is what we were, and whether you're a Falcons fan or not, right? We are hoping at some point somebody could help open up this offense. You can't have Drake London, you can't have Pitts, and you can't have Bijan Robinson and not score the ball. And they have actually found a way to produce. They've found a way to play better football. So their brand is improved, but it's still too schizophrenic for my liking to say that they can be a contender in the playoffs.
Well, I can't believe I'm going to talk about the Birds like that. Yeah, if John was here, he would call them the Birds. No, I'm just playing. He would take offense to that. No, I'm just fucking with y'all. They are absolute pretenders for real. This team is 6-4, and I don't know if they really deserve to be 6-4. To be honest with you, they're probably a 500 team. I know 6-4 is pretty close to that. But when you look at their ranks, this team is 24th in defense yards given up per game. They're 24th against the pass and 20th against the run. This team, the defense, it just hasn't been there. Now, I will give them credit. As Jay just said, they finally figured out a way to say, okay, Bijan can actually look like something. Kyle Pitts, oh, thank God, that man has finally decided. I've been worried to put an Amber Alert out for Kyle Pitts. Drake London, he finally looks like the guy that they drafted. So, congratulations to them for that. But ultimately, that team, I don't know. It's a subpar team. They got the right shot in that division. Baker had the Bucs playing good, but everybody went down. The Saints look like shit, and that's as simple as that. And the Panthers actually somehow overexceeded, winning 3 wins. A lot of people didn't believe they were going to win 3 wins. But anyways, they are in the right division where, no, I didn't think they were going to win 3 either, Mike. So it's not just you. I'm
just saying they got to play better, so.
I was expecting that game to be a 0-0 matchup in Germany. I was clearly wrong there. I'll eat my crow.
They gave us overtime, right?
No, I mean 0-0. Like, I thought both teams were coming in with 0 wins. Game got here.
Okay.
Was my prediction before the season started.
Finishing nothing would be an accurate thought as well. So
that also would have definitely applied to those two teams. So when I look at the Falcons, I look at them as a pretender. If I was a team, and you figure they're going to win their division, right? So they're going to get a home team. If I was one of those wild card teams, that's the fucking team I want to play right there. I am fighting to say, please let me go play the Falcons, because I know, no offense to y'all in Atlanta, I can walk into that dome and I can go take a win and get to the second round if I had to go play them. That's the team I want.
And if the 49ers don't get their shit together, that might be the 5 seed sitting right there waiting for the Falcons, and Falcons fans are going to be like, I can't believe this is who we drew in the first round.
Yeah, that is not the match that they would want to see. Not at all. As the 49ers, hey, maybe that would be the match that they would want. Mike, I know you're not going to pick your Giants here. Don't expect you to pick your Giants. Who you got? Contender and pretender.
Well, yeah, I mean, we all know that the Giants are absolute contenders, right?
Oh, of course.
In my dreams.
You realize we're not a time machine, right?
Yeah. Take us back to 2007. My team for pretender contender is the Los Angeles Chargers.
Ooh.
Let's see.
Interessante.
Grandpa Jay, you can go first.
Well, you know my asphyxiation for the San Diego Chargers. There's this one's tough. There's so much talk today about if you don't have an offensive-minded head coach, you don't have a chance to contend for a Super Bowl. Right? It's because they always compare it. Look at this coach, offensive coach. Look at that coach, offensive coach. And you list down of the teams that have recently won the Super Bowl, apart from Todd Bowles. But when you have Brady, it doesn't really matter what kind of coach you are. Apart from that, you really have to look at, are we ready to really admit that the landscape of the NFL has changed? Because all the Chargers have proved to us is first to 20 wins, because you ain't scoring 20 on them. In fact, I think they're one of the first teams in NFL history to hold all 9 teams they played in their first 9 games to under 20 points. So the defense is legit. But like we've been saying all along, McConkey, great rookie, not sure you can rely on him. Quinn Johnson, not sure you can rely on him to be the guy you want to make plays for you. Justin Herbert playing on one foot, right? We're hoping that their backfield will be healthy. Gus Edwards still kind of limping his way into it. Dobbins looking like he's kind of like trying to keep himself together too. There's so many pieces that are trying to hold themselves together here. I don't think they can withstand the rest of the season and play at this level, meaning that at some point teams are going to figure out the defense. That means the offense is going to need to step up. I don't see it happening. I also see them in a bad wild card spot, because in that bad wild card spot, they're probably going to get Houston, or you're getting an AFC team where I think all divisional leaders are going to be too hard to beat. Whether it's Buffalo, whether it's Houston, whether it's, they probably won't get the Chiefs because the Chiefs are going to get the bye. Whoever they get in that first round, I think they're a better quality opponent. So if they get into the playoffs, which I think they will, I think it's a one and done situation for them.
Yeah, I agree with a lot you said, because ultimately I think that defense is clearly that defense is for real. When you don't give up 21 points in 9 games, hey, that defense is for real. I think they're still a year away. I think Harbaugh will figure it out with them. But as was just said, J.K. Dobbins, can he stay healthy? Gus Edwards, can he get back healthy? Herbert, he's not going to get but so healthy. So when I look at that team, and then also the receiver thing, that was the big thing. When you had all these receivers out here that you could have traded for, I kept saying, well, why aren't they on the market looking for them? Because I just imagine.
Like DeAndre would have been the perfect person for that offense.
Yeah. Right. So I imagine DeAndre, if they could have gotten Amari Cooper for the type of picks these guys were going for, why didn't you just take a shot and just see what happens? Because you've already proven with Justin Herbert as somebody to throw to is a different ball game. I don't know what the cap situation looks like for them, but they got to figure it out in the offseason. Ultimately, I give them props, though, because that whole thing with Brandon Staley last year, that was a joke. I used to love to sit on Twitter every week and just wait so I can get some jokes off of Brandon Staley. I'd have memes just prepared and Brandon Staley to fuck it up. Every time, 4 Eastern, right around 7 o'clock, I had 5 memes ready to fire off depending on how he was going to fuck up that situation. So the Chargers, shout out to you for your progression, but they are pretenders. Mike.
Yeah, no, we're in agreement here. They are pretenders. Again, like the Falcons, congratulations on your improvement. It's hard to not improve from Staley as a head coach hire. I mean, I remember I did a video on him last season when he came out after they gave up like 48 points or something. And he's like, I don't think my defensive play calling is the issue. I don't think we have a bad defense. And everybody is out there going,
delusional.
35 points a game every
And he was supposed to be a defensive guy.
Yes.
And he's a defensive guy. So like, stop. Like shut up. Harbaugh, great hire for them. I think he's brought not only a better mind to the team, but he's also brought a winning culture to the team. I think they want to play for him. It's right now, I agree, they're a year or two away also in the sense of like depth, especially on offense, but depth in general. Just like there are more experienced teams out there right now that can outlast them, or there are more deeply talented teams that can outplay them. And so, yeah, they might sneak into the wild card, although depending on where they end up sitting near the end of the year, would it be better to sit Herbert and let him rest over if it's like you're in a dog? Obviously, you want to make the playoffs, and so they'll push for that. But it's like it all depends on what the situation they're in. But
and remember, they have Khalil Mack. So when this team does get healthy and Khalil Mack is back to improve that defense even more, and they get that one weapon that might be missing. I think we're all right here. They're a year away. And Kansas City, at some point, that train has to start sputtering. You can't go to freaking 6 Super Bowls in 5 years and not show signs that like this is getting to you and your team. That's a lot of football.
No, it is. And ultimately for them, like we all said, a year away. So shout out to y'all for the improvement. But right now, we're all going to say you're pretenders, but you're on the step of being a contender. Jay, what you got for us?
I have the Desert Clan, my boys, the Arizona Cardinals. Pretender or contender?
They're interesting one because the 4 o'clock window is always an interesting window because you only got about 6 teams to watch. I find myself watching a lot of Cardinals football this year. They're actually one of the more fun teams to watch. And the crazy part is my guy Marvin Harrison Jr., he's having an okay rookie year, maybe not the year that we thought he would have. So I would say that they are pretenders right now. But again, the reason I'm saying this is because I told y'all before that I think San Francisco is going to turn this shit around. And it's not because of what the Cardinals are doing. It's because of what I think the 49ers are about to do is why I can't put them in there. That being said, they might sneak their way into the playoffs. And if they do, that's a step up. Kyler Murray, he's turned it around. I saw something on Twitter where they has basically said that Kyler Murray, his stats, even with Call of Duty being out, have actually been pretty solid. And that's a big thing to say because everybody's like, hey, Kyler wants to go play video games. I think they had won like a couple games in a row. His yardage went up. So shout out to you, Kylie. You put your head in the book. Call of Duty can wait. It will still be there once you get eliminated in the first round or the last week of week 18 of the season. Call of Duty will still be there. But I like what I see. James Conner's always been a guy who's a very likable guy. I mean, all the way back to when he was at University of Pitt going to Pittsburgh. So I like seeing that. And Gannon, I mean, he's done a good job for what he's working with. And I think, give him a couple years, I think he clearly is a guy who deserves to be a head coach. And I think he's figured something out. I think it's going to take a little more time to all the way put this puzzle together. Oh, one more thing. The cool part for them, which I like, you see Trey Benson come in, you see Connor come in. They just keep subbing running backs and these guys in. So I'm looking, I'm saying, okay, file this away. They got some depth there, which is going to be big for them going forward in a couple of years.
Yeah,
Mike,
I think.
how are you feeling about them?
Yeah, so I admittedly have never been super high on Kyler as a quarterback. I famously said when he first came out in the draft that, man, he just should have played baseball because he would have gotten actually more starting money by signing bonus with the A's than he got with the Cardinals. But you know what? He has proved me wrong in the sense that he can last in this league. He can play well in this league. And he's obviously like a phenomenal athlete. Then you give him a big body, talented receiver like Harrison. You give him a talented tight end like Trey McBride with a solid defense, with a coach that knows what to do, how to utilize his players. He's young, so he's got the energy, brings the energy to the team.
Mm-hmm.
However, at this point, I think we picked three teams that are very close, but also a pretender right now, if only because of the landscape of the rest of the league and how, again, I think they're a team that can make some noise, but will be outlasted by a few other teams. And so I don't think there's a run this year in their future. But if they continue to build on what they've been doing, yeah, they could be very dangerous in the next few years.
Go ahead, Jay. What you got for us?
How about a twist on this, my guys? I think this team is a contender. And let me tell you why I think they're a contender. As bad as the defense is, where the defense is almost ranked last in terms of third down percentage, they've turned that around in the last 3 games tremendously. So the problem has been solved, or at least it seems so. And that's a big problem to be one of the worst teams in terms of third down efficiency as a defense. Once that is solved, it means you're putting the ball back in Kyler's hands. And despite the level of competition, here's how that really turns the team around. 3 games in a row. You got a 2-point win in the Chargers, last minute field goal. You got a 1-point win against Miami. And you got a 1-point win against San Francisco. Sandwich in between that, you didn't show up when you went to Green Bay. Last 2 games, they beat the Bears by 20. They beat the Jets by 25. Something is happening with this team, and it's called belief. And when the belief train starts to take off, the team that thought nobody could is like, good. We like playing with house money. Let's keep talking about the 49ers. Let's keep talking about the Rams. Let's keep talking about Geno. Leave us out of the conversation. You know what we're going to do? We're just going to sit back. We're going to go on our bye week. And we're going to come out and we're going to tear through the league here to finish off. The schedule is favorable. Seahawks, Vikings, Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are faltering. They win at least 1, maybe 2 of those. Then we got Pats, Panthers, Rams. I think they can win all 3 depending on where the Rams are at that point. End of the year game against Niners, maybe that's for the division. Maybe that's the one that decides whether they can be contenders. Because if they do beat the 49ers twice in 1 year, people are going to be saying, hey, maybe that Grandpa J guy was on to something a couple weeks ago, and we could run this clip again. So, yes, the Arizona Cardinals are contenders this year.
Now, when we say contenders, what is your max up for them? How far do you think they can win a division?
I think they can upset somebody to make it into the NFC Championship game. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, you have them as real contenders. They're gonna just sneak in and have a fun game and
around.
Yeah, you have them actually. Okay, so we'll see.
As they're winning close games and they're figuring out the defense now. That's what has to happen in the playoffs. You gotta know how to win close games, and your defense has to get you the ball back when you need it.
I think they're your way, but we'll bookmark this. We'll revisit that. Now, actually, revisiting something I just said. I talked about the Cardinals. One thing I do like about them is that is crazy running back depth. What's the guy, DeMarcado or whatever the hell his name is?
Oh yeah.
And then you have Connor comes in. You have the guy Trey Benson. They look good when they all come in. Something else I've watched this year is I watched the running back. So we've seen Derrick Henry resurgence. So we've seen Barkley resurgence. So we've seen Joe Mixon go to a new team and have a resurgence. I guess what I'm thinking is for y'all, Mike, do you feel, and I know it's a little bit of a shock because you got Barkley in that equation, with the resurgence of running backs, are we going to start to see running backs start to go back in the first round more often? Are we going to start to see running backs start to get paid because of what's seen to start happening this year with the running back position?
I think they should, but I don't think they will. I think there's going to be that consistent top tier of running back that will be at least financially will be compensated like your Barclays, your Jacobs, your Henrys, those guys. But I think it's awesome to see running backs, but it's the volume of running backs that I think kind of hurts the position as far as draft stock goes, because I think the perception is going to be if you don't have that, top tier, the top 5 running back, it's going to be running back by constant rotation, a la Benson, Connor, DeMarcado, those guys. And so you will see I think you may see a lot more running backs go in the draft, but I don't know if their position will change so much as it's like, okay, well, hell, this year, if it's a good running back year, right? Let's say, for example, you run into a good running back year. Well, holy hell, like we had 9 taken in the 3rd round. So I think you're going to get a lot of more guys getting picked for sure, but I don't think it's going to necessarily change that perception that you don't take a running back in the first round unless you have to be absolutely sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you because ultimate thing is I love to watch a good running back. There's something about watching a guy just dominate and go, what did Marshawn Lynch just keep running to a motherfucker, keep running to him? There's something about that I do love to watch. So me, I would enjoy that. I grew up as a Steelers fan, so for me, watching football I'm watching the bus, and he's just running downhill and he's running people over, and this is the football I grew up on. I don't think the NFL is ever really going to get back to that, and partly for every time we look at a guy like a Derrick Henry who balls out, we look at a Barkley who balls out, we get too many of these standalone cases where you can just plug a guy in. So we got Tyrone Tracy. He's a 5th-round draft pick. I'm not saying Tyrone Tracy is Saquon Barkley or anything, but he's done a decent enough simulation for significantly less money to qualify for why they can get away with not paying a guy like Saquon. When you look at a guy like Bucky Irvin, he goes in the 4th round. And then you look at a guy like Kyron Williams last year, goes in the 5th round, where these guys are able to go out here and ball. Then you go to some of your first-round picks over the last couple of years. You look at somebody like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And then he doesn't do anything, but then Kareem Hunt is on the couch. They bring him in, and suddenly the Chiefs look good. So it's hard to quantify which one of these guys are going to be worth paying, which one of these guys aren't worth paying. Now, I will say, if you got a special talent, and I mean a very special talent, you got a Derrick Henry, you got a Saquon Barkley, these type of guys who you aren't going to find, these are one of ones, then they should pay these guys. If not, it's very hard to justify paying these guys. The interest from me coming up is going to be to watch to see if Najee Harris gets paid, because the Steelers keep plugging and playing these guys, and Najee's look better, but I just don't know how much you can justify paying these guys when you keep finding these guys in the 5th round. That being said, I want these guys to get paid because I love watching running backs ball out. I just don't know with the structure of the cap and the importance of quarterback if we're ever going to see these guys go back to continuously being 1st-round picks to get drafted in that way. Jay, I know I've mentioned Bucky Irvin. I mean, he's down there with your Bucks. You have Rashard White, who was a more highly touted person. I mean, how are you feeling about running backs in the evolution, I guess, of if they're coming back?
I think you guys make some excellent points. I think the one thing that's going to deter teams from drafting high at that position, at least high right now, is you guys made the points. It's working in the 3rd and 4th and 5th round. It seems to work, and the reason why it's working in those rounds is because they already know that the running backs have accepted their value. Right? It's not like every running back was like, "Fuck it, we're on strike, we're done. Good luck running your offense without us," right? If there's a running back union and they all agree to hands back until you up our value and double our value and the position's done, then maybe football changes forever. But that's not going to happen. So because they've already accepted their value, and Mike made a point, the top 3 or 4 guys are going to be the ones that are compensated a little bit more, not a significantly amount more. They've already determined this is the value of a top tier running back. So teams aren't going to necessarily feel like we have to reach because the formula has been you don't. But there's an interesting scenario that might happen this year, and that is I'm pretty sure a lot of teams are going to fare picking up Ashton Genty because what do we know? They don't really like backs that have a lot of miles on them coming out of college football. Guess who's sitting there that really needs a number 2 because number one in particular there's always injury concerns with him, even though he's balling out this year, and he's getting some age on those wheels. The Minnesota Vikings. Because if Gentry drops way down to the end of the first round, I believe that's a very good gamble for that team because there's not much else they have to fulfill on the team than having a reliable backup running back. So I think the scenario plays out well because of how good the Vikings have been, that they're going to be a late round draft pick. They're going to be drafting late in the first round. And if Gentry is sitting there, I sincerely hope they don't pass on him unless there's a glaring need because something happened where either the play didn't work out or there's an injury and they need to get that position filled immediately, if it's on the line or whatever it might be, if you're going to bring in JJ next year. I just think it sets up for a running back to go in the first round next year, maybe two. And if so, man, that would be a marriage made in heaven. And Vikings fans should be very happy if that does happen.
So for Gentry, because I know that's your guy, you've been talking about him a lot. Do you feel that he's that type of a special running back, honestly, for first round? Like, do you? Because I mean, you look at like your recent ones. You have like B. John and these type of guys. Do you think he's in that category ultimately, or do you think it's the competition he's playing right now out there?
I will defer to Mikey on this because that's Mikey's boy. So Mikey, go ahead and let us know what you think.
All right, so you tell us.
So there's two sides to every story, obviously. I think he's a very talented running back. I think he should win the Heisman. I don't think he will, but I think he should win the Heisman. And, I mean, you can't deny the numbers he's put up, especially this season, where it's just been insane. Like, he's putting up, like, Derrick Henry at Alabama when he won the Heisman, like, numbers. But then there's the side of it where it's like, who's he playing and what defenses are really going to stop him?
Yep.
What happens if you put him, in the Big Ten or the SEC? Is he getting those kinds of yards? And most likely not. I think he'd still be a solid running back. But having heard his story, I think that he is the type of young man that a team, especially like the Vikings and Mr. Kevin O'Connell, could mold into a very good NFL running back. I think he's that kind of guy where he is going to play with a chip on his shoulder because he's going to be looked at going in the league no matter who he goes to, where it's, oh, you went to Boise State. It doesn't matter what numbers you put up. You were in a terrible conference where you just ran. I mean, you were playing for the consistently number one team in that conference, or at least top three team in that conference consistently. So who did you really play? All that kind of that kind of stuff. So I think he'll come in with a chip on his shoulder. So yeah, I think he's going to be good. I've got a good feeling about him.
Okay, so you feel like this isn't a divisional matchup or anything like that. What I'll be interested, and I guess we'll talk more about this later, but when we get to the college football playoff, assuming they make it, they did good against Oregon, so I want to see what happens if he has to go up against another top team. I mean, interesting for them is, too, depending on how this plays out, there might be a scenario where they get to actually make, have somebody come out the boys. You have to play on that blue field. Now, some would say that blue field is ugly. Some would say that blue field is nice. Now, I see a lot of jerseys every week. Some of these jerseys are shitty. Some of them are good. I got to ask you guys, Jay, what is the ugliest NFL jersey that you've seen? It could be current. It could be in the past. But what's like the nastiest looking one?
We taking it back to 1994 when the Chicago Bears decided to put the most god-ugly, just bloody orange, awful designed throwback jersey for the 75th anniversary on Brian Urlacher. I say, hey, guys, just go shine in this disgusting looking black and orange, weirdly styled jersey. The numbers up here on the shoulder, it kind of like blends underneath the pattern design. It looks as though like they ran out of ink in the real jerseys they were trying to print. They were like, shit, we fumbled it back. Just take these and put them on and go play the game. I mean, I guess those are the throwbacks and what they may have worn back then, but my God, those jerseys are just bloody awful. Awful.
See, not a fan of the old school. I remember those two because it was a bit weird because you didn't feel like you were actually watching Chicago Bears. Like you said, maybe the throwbacks, they didn't feel like the Bears. For me, and this is a standalone, and I hate to do it because it's my own fucking team. The goddamn jailhouse jerseys.
Jailhouse ones.
Why? The thing is, I love the Steelers. I love the movie The Longest Yard, the Burt Reynolds edition. That was the better version. You can argue with me about it later if you want to. But why do we have to go Longest Yard and put these dudes in jailhouse uniforms? I just was not. I've never was feeling it. The whole stripe thing. It looks like the hamburger. Like, why would y'all do that? Nobody likes that jersey. Every once in a blue moon, I see somebody in the crowd with that jersey on. I'm like, bro, you just paid $150, $200, whatever the hell jersey goes for that thing. Why would you do that? And then to make it worse, I hate when you get an ugly jersey because let's say you get good highlights and we got to go back and watch these highlights. Now we're stuck watching. So I'll give you a very specific moment as a Steelers fan. There was a moment back in 2014. Big Ben has one of his career days, 522 yards, 6 touchdowns against the Colts. It was an all-time great game. I enjoyed it. He had a duel. And you know what happened? He wore that ugly jersey. So every time I see the highlights, sometimes I'm like, I want to go back and remember what it was like in the good days. Then I turn on, I'm like, fuck, why do y'all have Big Ben in this terrible looking jersey? This is not as enjoyable as it should be because he's not wearing the classic Steelers uni. And that for me just sucks. Call me old fashioned, but I love just wearing the classic regular jersey. We ain't got the veer. I get that money is involved, and that's why we got to have all these different jerseys in every league, but something about a classic jersey. I just love to see that. Mike, what you got? Whose jersey was ugly?
Yeah, so let me. I could easily just gone with the 100th anniversary Giants jerseys, which are similar but in blue and red to those Steelers jailhouse jerseys. But I got a double whammy for you. The two worst are either option of the Jets or Packers when they wear the dumb navy blue and like mustard yellow jerseys. Those
the poop
are
and blue.
Those are the Jets are trying to throw back to when they were the New York Titans and those were their colors. But fine, guess what? They were ugly then too. And guess what, Packers? Before you settled on the green and gold, when you everybody was kind of playing it around with that like burlap look because everybody was wearing kind of like the burlap pants and stuff like that, so it kind of worked. But still ugly. Like, it doesn't make it any better. Especially when, like, if you're the Packers or Jets and you've got good jerseys and you've got good color schemes to you now. Just don't go to those ones. So that's, I hate both of them.
Honorable mention from a fashion standpoint, the long sleeve New England Patriots jerseys that were like, why in God's name would you decide to put long sleeves on football players, number one? Like that
because they play in Massachusetts.
Yeah, but
they were super back then. And
the whole point,
and
like the whole and be a man, like, you know, toughen up, right? Like the whole thing, like football back then was like, you know, cover up your sleeves, and that jersey. I mean, whether you were trying to imitate hockey at the time, maybe you're trying to get hockey fans to buy a football jersey, epic fail.
You notice back then that those guys were losers, and then they get rid of those jerseys, and suddenly the Patriots become winners. That's because when you dress like a loser, you play like a loser, you feel like a loser. And that's basically what this is. So that's why the Patriots need to have got rid of that damn jersey. Yes. Get rid of that damn awful, ugly jersey. Mike, anyways, there's always out of your mind. We talk about jerseys, we talk about football, we talk about baseball. I know you got some good facts for us. I know you got some good things. Let us know. What is on your mind today, Mike?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Let me tell you what's on my mind. I saw this when I was scrolling through social media, as often Mike's minds come to me for. Also, thank you to those that have sent me Mike's minds because I appreciate it and I've used a few of them. But this upcoming week, we're also going to see, on top of all the great football and basketball and things like that, which we're all excited about, we're going to see the MLB finally hand out their awards, because for some reason the MLB hands out their awards weeks after the season ends. But, and let's face it, Aaron Judge is going to be your AL MVP. They've named 3 finalists, but it's going to be Judge. The dude had a phenomenal season. But in high school, not only was he MVP level on the baseball diamond, but he was MVP level on the football field and basketball court. So in his senior season at Linden High School in Linden, California, here are the numbers that Judge put up. So we'll start with baseball, his what ended up being his sport. Hit for 500 with 7 home runs and 32 RBI. Wow. Solid high school baseball season. In football, he had 54 receptions, 969 yards, and 17 touchdowns.
My goodness, the yards per reception is ridiculous there. 20
and
per.
In basketball, he averaged 18.2 points and 12.8 rebounds per game, being named All-State in California.
All right, Jokic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I don't think it's as much of a stretch as you might think that this professional baseball player, one of the best, if not the best in the league, might have been able to go pro in any sport he wanted.
Might he be the best basketball player in baseball?
I mean, at 6'7",
No,
probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's got a good.
Maybe only Aaron Cruz might. If Aaron Cruz knows how to bounce a basketball, might be the only person that could defend.
No,
Yeah.
I'm sure Stanton does. California boys, I think they know how to
Yeah.
play. But yeah, so that's what's on my mind
possibly.
this week. The phenom that is Aaron Judge as an athlete.
That's awesome.
No, that makes sense. So what you're saying is Aaron Judge could have he could have picked his route. He could have went to college to play football, could have went to college to play basketball, he could have went to college to play baseball. Either way, this probably was going to work out. The thing I kind of wonder is if he had went to college, would he have been a starter? Would he have been on the bench? Would we have had to cut him? Speaking of that, though.
Well, and his was more just if he had gone the route of two-way sport, him and Kyler would have been drafted for baseball and football, and then he would have chose that way, and Kyler went this way. Are they close to the same year? I think they are, right?
No.
They got to be close. No, the Judge would be.
No, Judge is before
older?
that. Judge has
to be older.
Judge is like
2 years before him, I think, right?
Yeah, because before he came
Maybe
up.
2 years before Kyler.
Yeah, I think he was 2015, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, no, that would have been
18.
interesting. If those two would have.
Yeah.
Yeah, if those two would have crossed paths, I mean, it would have been interesting to see like which way they decided to go. Yeah, definitely would have been that would have been like that. That would have been, when you're like a kid and you do that poster, you're like marking like, okay, I'm this tall now, mommy. Look, I'm getting this tall. This athlete I look up to. And that'd have been Kyler like standing next to Aaron, just like, mommy, look at me. Or that movie Big, where the guy
Muggsy Bogues, baby. I'm representing for the little people.
No, it's more. It would be more Twins with Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes, I actually made a reference with
that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. But anyways, like I said, we were talking about Aaron Judge. Maybe he could have went to college, play this. Maybe he could have went to college, play that. Maybe he would have been Travis Hunter. I don't know. Maybe that guy could have played both ways.
College basketball needs to be saved before it's too late. I've started noticing a trend where a lot of college players are coming down the court and, like in the NBA, are just chucking up long-distance threes or trick shots just because that's the trend in basketball these days. But that's not college basketball. The NBA is already, I think, too far gone with this to be able to save it from this trend. But college basketball needs to be different. It needs to remain that competitive game where they're actually running plays instead of not playing defense and just chucking up big shots and it's like a three-point contest. I love the college game way more than I do the NBA game these days anyway, and I need it to stay that way because I can't go on watching just a back-and-forth three-point shootout when it comes especially to March Madness. So please, college basketball and your programs and your players, please stop this.
College football season is heating up, though. We played this game before. Y'all love to watch it. Y'all love to play it. We're going to play a little game of college football edition. Start, bench, cut. Somebody gets to start. Somebody can be on the bench. They still get to be on this team. And somebody's ass got to go home. We're taking scholarships if we're revoking them. Maybe we're firing people. However you want to take this, you can use a coach. You can use 3 teams. You can use players. Take it how you want to. Jay, kick us off. Who you got? Start, bench, cut. College football.
All right. We are going with the coaches edition of Start, Bench, Cut. And here are your choices, gentlemen. Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. Coach Cal Whittingham, Utah Utes.
Okay.
Kalani Sitake of BYU. Start, bench, cut. Who you got?
Okay, so you said Deion,
Cal Whittingham, and Kalani Sitake, BYU coach. Kalani Sitake.
Okay, so I'm gonna start Deion, and the reason I want to start Deion because at the end of the day, Deion's always going to be box office, so he'll always be able to get certain guys in because they're the mystique of Deion. So whether it was going to Jackson State or being able to get Travis Hunter to go there, he's always going to get guys there. I'm not saying he's going to X's and O's. Something Deion has to improve is start putting more people around you who can maybe handle some of the X's and O's you can't. But I think he can figure it out because the charisma is always going to be able to get players there. And in college football, that's a good chunk of the battle. After that, I'm going to bench Whittingham. The reason why? Because he's been at Utah forever. And he's figured out how to keep that program relevant. Other than Urban Meyer, who else been able to keep people wanting to go to fucking Utah to play football? Nobody wanted to actually do that. So I'm going to give him credit and say he can, continue to do that. The BYU coach, I'm going to have to cut him. There's no offense to that. He's at BYU. on the other hand, if he can keep doing this at BYU, great, because now you're getting people to go to that school, which is a really hard school to convince people to go to. So shout out to him if he can do it. It's no shade to him, but when I got those other two guys and I got the dynamic of Dion and I got the longevity of Wyndham, then I got to go that way.
Good choices.
Mike.
Interesting.
How's it playing out for you?
I'll take a slight variation to that. I'm going to start Whittingham just because of his success at Utah. If I had to pick amongst the three coaches to like lead my team to a successful season, I'm going to go with him just because we've seen more of a track record of that. Dion, we will bench not because Dion's a bad coach. He's a growing coach. He continues to grow in his role, his ability to coach across all facets of the game. And I think he's got still a lot of potential. So what do we do when we have guys that are almost ready, but are still building their potential? We have him sit on the bench and they learn. So I agree. If you learn, as he continues to learn, I would have him in the reserves. I would definitely take him. BYU coach, yeah, I just, he's done a great job. It's not a bad choice. It's just you got to cut somebody. Well, we're going to cut him. And I think, again, he's got some success ahead of him. I think he will continue to have success at BYU. But we're going to pump the brakes a little bit on him just until we see more of it.
Jay?
This one is tough for me. Very tough for me. But I'm going to start
with BYU. You had to add him in there.
Yeah, and I'm going to start him. And here's why I'm going to start him. Because I'm a little bit of the prisoner of the moment where I really like what I'm seeing with this program. I feel like if you can do that much with BYU, imagine what you could do with an endless amount of resources. So I feel like he has something good going there for him. I think he's an alum of the program. Kind of like to see that when someone's giving back from that standpoint and you're getting the job done. I'm going to bench Prime, and here's why I'm going to bench him. Because it's time for you to consider going somewhere else. Come to Florida. Take over Florida State. Prove to people you could take a 1-10 Florida State if they end up winning one more game. I don't think they will. A 1-11 Florida State. Turn that program around. Get recruits to change. Get them to change their mind. Show everybody that Coach Prime does mean business, and he can take any program and make that program successful. We've seen him do it in Colorado right now. Okay, he was at Jacksonville with the Dolphins before. Let's see if he can do it at Florida State. So I'm benching him so he can take some time to think about that, because if I start him, he ain't going nowhere, or Jerry's going to throw him that money. He's going to the league. And I'm going to cut Coach Cal because, hey, you've been at Utah forever. I think you kind of hit your ceiling as to how successful that program could be. So you're going to kind of compete for conference championships, and maybe that's it. I think the other two guys can try and get their programs over the top and believing that they can win. I think Coach Cal has made Utah players feel like winners, but I think the other two are now making their teams feel like you can be more than winners. You can compete with anybody.
Bring me a good point here. I'm going to take over here. Start, bench, cut. Coaches edition. We're in the same boat. So you let me down a direction here. You pick some nicer coaches? I pick some struggling coaches. Billy Napier,
yes.
Sharon Moore, Mike Norvell. Start, bench, cut.
Take it away.
We left off with you talking about Florida. You go ahead and take it off, because we just left off with you just trying to put two of these guys out for Dion to come coach their program. So you tell us,
right.
Napier, Moore, or Norvell, how are you laying this out?
All right. Well, because both Florida jobs need to open up, Norvell, get on the bench. Napier, get the hell out of town. And then I'm going to start Coach Moore.
So you're just kicking Florida out to the curb. Just complete Florida.
Come on now. Those programs are suffering. And as much as I hate Florida, and I've never liked Florida State, football is better in Florida when those programs are better. All right? When the game against Miami is competitive, when Miami's good, okay, it just makes it better. So I want to see football improve in Florida again.
No, it makes sense. Mike, you're a new resident of Florida. Sometimes you're stuck watching these games with them. How are we going to go with this? Napier, Moore, Norvell.
Can I just cut them all? Like,
that was going to be nice points, but you got to.
I know. I suppose I'll start Norvell only because we have seen him have a really good season. Sure. So, like, I guess there's some potential there. Moore, I'll bench because he's newer, so I think there's a potential still left to turn it around. And Billy Napier can get the hell out of here because he's been there too long. Even I didn't even have to move to Florida to know Billy Napier's been there 2
And
years.
you chose to play your best game against Kentucky this year when I was there. Come on, Napier. Come on, bro. Like,
Exactly.
you mean nothing to me. Not sensational. Who you got, bro?
So this was a bit of a hard one for me, and this is why I did it that way because I said, okay, I get my Sharon Moore jokes off all the time. Napier, he's been there forever, and then we got Norvell. So for me, I'm going to start Norvell partly because Norvell did it before. We've already watched him last year do it, so by default we say, okay, maybe he can figure it out. Now, what's alarming with Norvell though is at this point these are starting to be his guys. And this is where it's starting to fall apart. This is one of these situations where you show up and say, but wait till he gets his guys in, because that's always the excuse of college football. But these are your guys, it's gotten worse. So that is a terrifying thing to do. I'm actually going to bench Napier. I'm going to bench Napier, and the reason why is because because we at least have a version of Napier, and people forget about it because it's been a few years. There's a version of him in Louisville that was a good coach consistently for years.
At Louisville.
But the thing is, I at least know he can be a competent coach. To move on to this is why Sharon Moore is the one who has to get cut, because he has proven me nothing to prove to me that he can even be a level of coach, even coach at Eastern Michigan, let alone the University of Michigan. And I'm saying that as an Ohio State guy. That being said, I probably should start Sharon Moore because I need him to fucking stay there so we can keep him in. Actually, you know what? Take my answer back. Sharon Moore, starting, keep him in, bring back Rich Rodriguez, bring back Brady Holt, bring them all back. Actually, Lloyd Carr, you stay to the side. You beat us for some years. You stay to the side. Original Jim Harbaugh, you can come back. Khakis later, you can go. So Sharon Moore, actually, you know what? He can start. As an Ohio State fan, start goddamn Sharon Moore. That's how we're going to go about this. So, yeah. Wait, so to be clear, though, in all seriousness, I did cut Sharon. Did we have Napier get cut twice?
Yes.
Certainly.
Okay, so Napier clearly is the low man on this totem pole where we're going at. Okay.
Yes, the one that just got an extension, yes. Or not an extension, but a vote of confidence, yes.
2 days before not even showing up for the game after getting the extension. Whoops.
Which is fine. The check go clear, right?
Yep.
Speaking of checks clearing, Mike, who you start bitching and cutting here?
Well, guys, I hate to break up the pattern, but we do not have a third coaches edition of Start Bench Cut. We have a Start Bench Cut quarterbacks edition.
Awesome.
And we talk about, obviously, it would be easy for me to go with the top flight prospects, the names that are up there for Heisman. But no, we go with the secondary ones. Start Bench Cut, gentlemen. Garrett Nussmeier of LSU. Drew Allar of Penn State, and Cade Klubnik of Clemson.
My goodness, bro.
Check for worst shit ever.
No.
Can I run Wildcat?
No. You must have a quarterback.
Okay, so we got okay, so let's go LSU's quarterback, Nussmeier. I'm gonna start him. I guess our offense is a little more competent. And I don't even know if it's because of him. So by default, he just gets to start. I'm going to I'm going to bench Aller because at minimum, he does not turn the ball over and puts them in bad positions, even if he doesn't really do anything special to me. And I think Drew Aller is a very overrated player. I don't get the hype outside the fact that he goes to Penn State. And I am going to cut I'm cutting anything with Clemson right now. I'm sorry. That entire we can cut the entire program. Dabo can get cut the quarterback. Shit, they maybe Beneval got cut and he went over to Oklahoma. He probably should get cut from Oklahoma. Just cut anything to do with Clemson. All ties Clemson at this point should probably be cut. So yeah, that's where we're going with this. Jay, how you going about this?
This one's interesting, and I feel like sometimes we have to be open to forgive certain players that showed us one hand and somehow they've really turned it around. And I feel Klubnik has done that. I feel coming out that Georgia game, one could have been like, what a terrible mistake. Here we go again. Dabo's done it again. The overhyped quarterback. And here we go. We're going down the same road again. But he turned things around after that game. So I got to give him credit for not literally, just putting his tail in between his legs and saying we just got smacked down and that's it for our season. So I'm going to start Klubnik.
Okay.
I'm going to bench Nussmeier because he's proven he could do it in the SEC. All right, and yes, I have a little SEC bias. And if it wasn't for how abysmal that defense was, I think LSU would probably still be in playoff contention right now. And as much as you want to give Allure the credit for why Penn State's in the position they're in, he's a running back. He's not a quarterback. So I'm going to cut the guy who's not even what he is, okay? He's a damn running back. He's not a quarterback. He keeps the ball in his hands. If he had it his way, he'd call his number every time, run the option. So I'm cutting that guy because I don't think I could trust him if the game was on the line and the ball was in his hands and the ball had to go out of his hands to another player. I just don't trust him as much as the other two guys.
No, trust any of these guys. Like I said, as far as I'm concerned, I can run Wildcat. At this point, is Travis Hunter available to play quarterback? I'm pretty sure. I damn well guarantee Travis Hunter can figure out to play quarterback better than any of those three guys that were
Bring
named.
back Doug Flutie. Bring Flutie back.
Bucket.
Mark Pope takes care of business in Atlanta, and the new face of Kentucky basketball has the rest of the college basketball world on watch. My way too early reaction is filled with hope after beating Duke at the Championship Classic. But there are definitely some holes that must be addressed, specifically Kentucky not taking care of the basketball if these cats want to compete to win the SEC and get back to familiar territory as a top 2 team in the tournament. Perhaps the best thing about the game last night, or a couple nights ago, was the emergence of Andrew Carr in the absence of Jackson Robinson. Living up to his expectations on the big stage is what we Cats fans wanted to see, because if Robinson wasn't going to do it, who's going to deliver? And Carr did his thing. He answered the bell at every call, and if he continues to grow on both ends of the floor, then Big Blue Nation will have a lot to cheer about come March. You know my annual thing here. When basketball season starts, oh, C-A-T-S, Cats, let's go.
On any of these. But since we're here and we're talking about some of these big college programs, we do this every week. We have our Cinco 5, our Cinco picks of the week. So some weeks we do good, some weeks we do better. We even get better as the season goes. So people, hey, earlier we already gave you some head advice. We told you, lock it in. Look at Jamie. He's going out there. He's giving you advice. Now we're going to give you some advice on the scores. You bet the overs, you bet the unders. We're going to tell you what the scores are going to be for some of these games. We're going to start this off. We're going to blend this for college. We're going to blend this for the NFL. The games we're going to do this week, we have Tennessee versus Georgia. We have Colorado versus Utah. We have the Chiefs versus the Bills in the NFL. The Steelers versus the Ravens, another big divisional matchup. And then we have a Monday, I think it's a Monday Night Football, I'm pretty sure. Bengals versus Chargers. I think that's a Monday night. We actually got a Monday night with some things on the line here. So let's go around the table. Let's start off. And the way we'll go Grandpa Jay, we'll go me, we'll go Mike. We'll start off Tennessee, Georgia. What's your score prediction?
I got Tennessee 20, Georgia 27.
Okay, I got Tennessee 27, Georgia 23.
I got Tennessee 24, Georgia 21.
Nice.
Okay, let's go on to Colorado and Coach Prime versus the Utah Utes.
We know that Colorado's been bragging about being good on the road, but this team's playing awesome and they're at home. So give me Colorado to win 28-17.
Okay, I got Colorado 31, Utah 17.
Oddly enough, I have Colorado 30, Utah 17.
Oh, look at that.
Utah's
So
not getting over 17.
Here. Utah scored 17 points.
Yeah, you lock that in, guys.
Take
the under on Utah's
points. Moving on to the NFL. Big game. Everybody's been waiting for. We got the Chiefs versus the Bills.
Bills 24, Chiefs 23, because Patrick Mahomes does not have the ball last.
Chiefs 27, Bills 24. Patrick Mahomes marches down, sets Tucker up, kick a field goal as time expires.
Chiefs 31, Bills 17.
A lot of points there for the Chiefs, Michael.
No need for that last drive.
Big divisional matchup. Some will say it's the best rivalry in the NFL right now. We got the Steelers. We got the Ravens.
Ravens 30, Steelers 27.
Okay. Steelers have had Lamar's number. Steelers 24, Ravens 22.
Sorry, Trey. Can't side with you this week. Ravens 38, Steelers 37.
Expect some points there. Moving on to Monday Night Football. Two teams that playing for a lot here. We got the Bengals. We got the Chargers.
Ladies and gentlemen, this one's going to overtime, and look for Jamar Chase and some Joe Cool magic. Bengals win in overtime, 26-20. Bengals 26, Chargers 20.
We got the Bengals 23, the Chargers 17.
Bengals 24, Chargers 14.
Okay, so got a lot of interesting picks there. Got a lot of good football this weekend. I'm talking both days. We got a lot of good football Saturday. We got a lot of good football Sunday. So make sure, as I said earlier in the show, lock those bets in. Lock some of these in. Trust and believe they're going to win. As we keep telling y'all, if you like this in, we'll take Cash App. Cinco Squad Pod 05. That's our Cash App. No, it's not. But for real, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Anyways, okay. Every week, we're always going to have something where there's going to be a replay and it's going to affect one of these games. And hey, it's probably going to force overtime on one of those games we just picked. Across sports, we watch baseball, we got a replay. We watch football, we got a replay. We watch basketball, we got a replay. Got to ask you, Mike, across sports, has replay actually made sports better? Instant replay reviews. Has it made sports better?
This is a complicated question because I think it depends on the sport a little bit, but in some regards, yeah, I think the putting in instant replay has allowed us to save a lot of games and a lot of moments where we've been able to correct issues that happen. The one that comes to mind that replay would have fixed was Armando Galarraga's near perfect game, which he should have had because he clearly got the runner out at first. But I think it started to kind of muddy the waters, and now we are reviewing too much. We are reviewing every little thing, but then not reviewing some very crucial things. So I think while instant replay has been of benefit, the concept has been of benefit, I don't think it has been applied in a way that has helped sports the way it should, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Here's my take on it.
How do you feel about it?
I agree with Mikey. That's improved certain aspects of sports that needed to have maybe that extra eye, keeping an eye on what was going on in the moment because it was too bang bang, right? And when it's bang bang like that, in fairness to the human that's making the judgment call, it could have huge ramifications on the outcome. So it's good that you've thought that maybe we should have a second opinion here because those ramifications should clearly be one team's in and one team's out of the playoffs. So that's a huge deal when you're talking about what a call could do in terms of how it can turn a season around. But it's killing the experience of watching games because it's creating way too many opportunities for more ads and more commercials and more bullshit from whatever the damn broadcaster or commentator has to now just make up on the top of his head because he has to fill airtime because he's supposed to be calling a game. So that's what it's doing to take the joy away from the sport as a fan that just wants to see them play the game. And it especially happens when it's an obvious call. Why are those the ones that take so long sometimes? It's like, come on, guys. Trust your human instinct in this moment. Be a damn referee, official, judge, whatever sport it is, and say to your guys, I saw this. This is what it is. Let's move on. First down, safe, whatever it is, play on.
For me, I am so damn tired of instant replay. I'm not even gonna lie to you because it's starting to butcher up sports where we're not having the instant reaction the way we used to. A lot of times when I watch football, whether I'm watching my fantasy football team, I'm watching my real team, I don't immediately celebrate on the touchdown because I'm just waiting, especially to see like, was it a catch? Was it not a catch? Oh, let's wait to replay. So now I basically sit there. I kind of get excited. I say, tell yourself down. Calm down. Calm down. Let me wait 5 minutes. Okay. Touchdown. Oh, now I can celebrate. The field goal team's out there. And it's like, what are we doing here? Same thing in basketball. Somebody goes up. They make a crazy-ass dunk. Then 2 minutes later, oh, we got to let's do the ring around the rosy. Let's do replay. And it's like, come on. We need some of these genuine moments. So there has to be a way to improve it. For me, something I'm looking at to improve it is, honestly, baseball, I'm okay with the replay. It's not as bad considering baseball, it's usually old-fashioned. When I look at the NBA, I'm at the point now with them, it's too much flopping. Y'all ain't reviewing that, and people out here getting away with this. Most of the time when they go to the call, they'll say, hey, foul on the play. Because you can call a foul on most plays. It's always going to be some type of contact. So the NBA, as far as I'm concerned, they can get rid of that replay shit. The only time I need the NBA to replay is if the ball got on somebody's hand on time. Other than that, the NBA can go with it. The NFL, again, too many replays. We already review every scoring play. Fine. If you want to keep it that, cool. limit the teams to one replay per game. That's it. I don't know, not a bonus if they win, we get a bonus. No, we don't need to keep stopping the game. Part of the beauty of NFL is it keeps going. You know the complaint people used to have a baseball time? Baseball's too slow. We need to get a pitch clock in because it's moving too slow. You know what the fuck feels real slow right now? The NFL, because every time I'm watching the game, it's fucking stopping. So I can watch a Verizon commercial where we need to go to a replay. So at this time, no, I'm at the point where I'm not saying let's get it wrong, but we got too much technology and too much stuff. I don't know what a catch is anymore week to week. I don't know what a catch is minute to minute. So it's really getting bad. But that's what I would do to improve it. Jay, for you, is there any
Encore, Trey Day. Encore. I don't think I could follow that up. There's nothing much I could say other than the fact that if you limit it to one, coaches don't abuse it. They'll probably wait till as long as possible if the game is close because they want to make sure they don't waste it, which means we don't have to deal with it until the end of the game. And I'm okay with them keeping the 2-minute thing for officials anyway, because we've gotten used to that over the years. It's nothing new. So keep that in there. Give the coaches one opportunity. That's it. Then that means we go back to trusting that these men and women now that give an extended amount of their time to improve at their craft are going to have the benefit of the doubt. And as fans, you're still going to criticize, or we're going to allow this instant replay thing to keep getting out of hand. And all we're going to get used to doing is watching a plethora of commercials take over the joy of the game.
Mike, any improvements you got on your mind about what you would do to change replay, any sport?
Yeah, so I think those are good points. You need to limit their ability to challenge. You need to fine-tune across all sports what can and cannot be challenged so that you can make it more important. But also, okay, so we put pitch clocks and game clocks and all of these play clocks and things like that on all of these players because they should be good enough to do what they need to do within the time frame that they do it, right? Well, do we not hold our officials to the same standard? Do we not think that they should be able to tell if they got a call right or wrong? So, yeah, across sports, how about we put in a replay clock so that we don't have to wait 10 minutes to figure it out, especially in football. Like, it's clear. We know. If you can't tell, first of all, you have not, it's not like you're looking at blurry footage of this. You have the most high definition 4K cameras you could possibly get your hands on. These are worth hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars. So you should know. Like if you can't figure it out, then guess what? That means it's inconclusive. If you can't figure it out in like a couple minutes, it's inconclusive. Like you can't. There is no reasonable doubt. So just
hence this weekend, right? I mean, that call in the Washington Steelers game was what should have been the obvious. Where was the ball when his knee touched the ground?
Yeah.
Did it take it to the marker or not? Why is it that hard for that to be controversial? It's simple. The rules state the ball didn't get there. Stop saying that Washington was cheated of an opportunity. The rules are the rules. And whether we need, yes, that was very close. Like I said, it was within 2 minutes. This might decide the game. This might decide who wins their division. I'm okay with that one. But in other circumstances where you're going to do that in the second quarter, where it may or may not end up having a huge impact on the game, and we got to sit through 6 more minutes of commercials and talking and is it and as and this and that and let's go with this and let's look at this catch and remember it's not the yellow line because the yellow line's not the marker and blah 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 blah. It's like no, you're taking away from a game that was great. That game just needed to flow. It needed to keep going. It need, whether the drive stayed alive or Pittsburgh took the ball, just get on with it.
Oh, and the thing is too that replay is supposed to be if it's supposed to be conclusive. If it's inconclusive, then at a certain point, that's why I like Mike's idea of the time. If we get to 2 minutes, you haven't came with an idea, then it is inconclusive. How long do we need to do it? If we're going back and forth, remember the whole thing is supposed to be if it's inconclusive or indisputable evidence, then we go with the original call. Okay, give them a minute, give them 2. We don't get to 2 minutes. That doesn't do. Fuck it. It's the original call because it wasn't a clear cut. We fucked it up. The whole point of replay was for clear cut changes, not to try to go in there and microscope every inch of if the football was a centimeter over, because I'm sure we can go back to Super Bowl 10. We can find something that slightly changes it, and we change all this stuff. If we had the right angles, I don't know if Franco Harris really caught that ball. We'll never know. But if it's indisputable evidence, that was supposed to always be the whole thing with replay, and they've changed that whole mode of that. So that's what I don't necessarily like about that. I mean, for us, replay, that's something that we fucking hate. That's something we don't like. But you know what we do like? One of our favorite times of the day. One of our favorite times, and your favorite time too. Stump
The Squad. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, ghouls and goblins. Welcome to your favorite segment of the show. It is Stump the Squad. Like we say every week, we want you guys to play along with us. So like, subscribe, comment, and at the end of Stump the Squad, let us know if you got the best of the team. Only 3 of us this week, so you only have to answer 3 questions. Let us know, like I said, if you beat us. Give yourself +2 if you get it right. You get -2 if you get it wrong. Don't cheat. Don't look at your phone. Don't look at your laptop. Just be cool and play along with us. So, Mikey Mike, you're sitting there, and I have a feeling you might have a baseball question for us this week, because I think baseball's on your mind. Prove me right or prove me wrong.
Well, this week I shall prove you wrong and hopefully stump you, as it is not a baseball.
Oh.
Gentlemen, we talked about jerseys, did we not?
Yes, we did.
Yes, sir.
How long has it been since 00 was worn in the NFL as a jersey number?
Oh la la.
Damn, I thought we were going to say NBA.
No, I'm sorry. Listen, I'm talking to the 2 NBA guys. I'm not bringing NBA. So, yes. So the question is, how long has it been since 00 has been worn by an NFL player as a jersey number? A, 1956. B, 1967. C, 1977. Or D, 1981.
Give me 77.
56.
Okay. Gentlemen, this week I have successfully stumped the squad. 1981.
No, it was really that recent.
Fun fact, 1956, birth year of my father. 1967, birth year of my mother. 1977, it has 7s.
And that's why I thought you were going to that pattern.
Exactly. It worked. Well, since it worked, Grandpa Jay, pass it right back to you.
Mike, you keep score, please. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So.
Well, Mikey, I thank you for talking about MLB awards, because I decided to go that way, given that the Silver Slugger Awards were given out recently. And I want you guys to answer this. Which one of these MLB players is the only great hitter to win the Silver Slugger Award for at least 6 consecutive years? Is it A, Barry Bonds, B, Mike Pizza Piazza, C, my guy, Ryan Sandberg, or D, Barry Larkin?
Larkin.
Hey, I'm rolling through all of the people that could have taken the awards away from them in various years. Again, we trust the gut. Yeah, Barry Larkin.
Final answer. We're locking in 2 Barry Larkins. Gentlemen.
Yep.
I have successfully stumped the squad. The answer is Mike Alla Pizza Piazza, who won it for
somebody had it in between.
Who won it for 10 consecutive years.
Wow.
Okay, so everybody has not hit answer yet. This is a great job, gentlemen.
Yeah, going into Trey's question, it is me at -2, Jamie at -2. I'm sorry, Grandpa Jay at -2, and Trey at -4. So.
Okay, so I went to the hardwood. That's where I went this week. Okay, shout out to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They won again. Shout out to them. As of this recording, they won another game. They are now 13-0. So shout out to those gentlemen. Yes. Okay. Excluding this year's Cleveland Cavaliers, 14 teams have started off the NBA season at least 10-0. How many of these teams did not make it to at least the conference finals? 3, 4, 5, or 6?
5.
4.
Okay. So we have 5 for Jay. We have 4 for Mike. This week's winner is none of our asses. We all suck. We literally all just got stumped. This week, it was 3. There were 3 teams that did not make it.
I had a feeling that no number was the right number, So let's stick to the best rivalry in football with total points in the Steelers-Ravens game. We gave our predictions to that. Are you sticking to your points with your prediction?
Yeah, my prediction.
Are you going to change it right now?
Well, let me add my numbers up real quick. I'm sticking my prediction. Okay, so I got 46.
I
That was my
have
prediction.
I have 57.
I have even more. I have 75.
What was your final score?
38-37.
Holy moly.
Shootout,
All right.
shootout. Okay, Mike, make sure you take a note of that.
Yep.
We will post out on our socials. Y'all make sure y'all put your predictions there too, because hey, maybe you know more than we did. This week we took it light on y'all, kind of act like we didn't know what the hell we were doing. Don't worry, we were just bullshitting. Next week we'll be back. We'll probably get them all right, and we'll have to do a different tiebreaker because everybody's gonna get everything right next week. But again, great show, fellas. A lot of good sports coming up. As I said, we missed our guy John. He's out with Cashman.
Yep.
Then there was actually some update I got from Woj, something about, or not, I'm sorry, Woj is gone. There's something from Shams actually got something about Miami Heat starting slow and John helping Pat Riley with negotiations for a possible Jimmy Butler trade. Maybe we'll have an update for you next week. Maybe John will have an update to you next week about Jimmy Butler being possibly shipped off from the Miami Heat. And I don't know. Something with him and Riley doing.
Whose jet is he flying? Heisinger, or is he flying the Steinbrenner? Which jet is he taking up and down in New York?
Word on the street is he may have purchased his own personal jet.
Oh,
there'll be more news on that. You have to stay tuned. There'll be more news on that next week. As I said, it was a great show. Any final thoughts, fellas, going this week about your teams? I guess Jay's Bucks are on a bye week. If y'all got anything you're super looking for.
I actually want to thank Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry for giving us exactly what we wanted to see this week in the return of Klay to Golden State. And kudos to those fans for giving him the ovation he deserved. That is pure class right there. Well done, Golden State.
Yep.
Well done, Steph. Well done, Klay.
Yeah, that's always good to see when you get that guy who comes back. He plays his old team, and they battled it out like they probably did practice for all those years, and we got to see this in real time in a game that actually counts. I would love if that lines up to somehow be a playoff matchup. It'd be so fun.
That would be incredible if we get that.
Mike, any final thoughts? Giants, anybody? How are we feeling? Soto, have we got him back home yet?
No, Soto's not back home yet. The Giants don't need to come home. They can just, stay in Germany.
Stay in London.
Let's see. I guess we're down to, right now, we're down to go Irish, go Heels, and go Rangers.
Okay. Hockey season back full in effect, too. Make sure y'all stay tuned. We will have NHL videos coming soon. There will be another starting five coming real soon. The NBA season is heating up. Steelers, Ravens. Big game. My Steelers, they're going to do their thing. So just remember that this week. But maybe you think I'm full of shit. Maybe you think Grandpa Jay's full of shit. Maybe you think Mike's full of shit. John will have videos. Maybe you think he's full of shit. Let us know. We do talk back. Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you do actually subscribe so you can actually see all this content. Don't just scroll past and say, I see these guys, I see these guys. Subscribe to us. We'll subscribe to you too. Cinco Squad Pod 05. That's our social handle. So make sure y'all follow through. As I said, more content coming soon. Again, Cinco Squad out.